My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts. This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. And tonight, let me get this all a volume set here. I was going to be on vacation, but there's so much going on as far as Houston and the release of my book, which you see scrolling across the screen right here. And we got a lot of viewers that are in Houston, so I felt like it would be good to come up and at least do a short show tonight, talk about a few things. Also, I want to let everybody know that I'm going to be hosting the Sean Hannity radio show tomorrow, and hopefully that'll you guys will all tune in for that. And let me know if you're having any issues with Facebook or with Twitter. Twitter's having some issues on my phone, but it's working good over here on the computer, so I'm not sure exactly what the issue is there. But let's get started, and we're going to start with a phone call to a good buddy of mine that is in Houston, and we're going to reach out to him right now, and then I'll put it up on the screen. And I need to text him real quick, make sure that he has his phone on the side level, whatever that's called. The let me tell him real quick. Stand by. All right. Now we're going to call Billy Gibbons. Veterans Manufacturers. They do the body armor that I've showed you all before. In fact, I'm going to grab that body armor here in just a minute, and I'll show you while we're talking. So why don't we do this? I'm going to reach out to Billy real quick, and I'm going to pull him up over here. So let's go ahead and go to the warning order.
Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
There you are, buddy. All right, hold on. Let me put you on the big screen here.
Sure.
And make sure that everybody can see you. I know it's a little dark normally. Do you have any light that you can put on, or you can turn towards the light?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I don't have this. This isn't the greatest setup yet, but still it's working. You can see that Billy's going to be right here, and you'll be able to see him when he comes up here.
All right.
Here we go.
Well,
that's better. Yeah, that's better. So people can see you now. And also I can turn up the, if I can do this right. No, I just screwed it up. Hold on one second.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know. I was an officer. I had other guys do this for me. All right, hold on. I got to pull you back up here.
Sure.
Hold on. We lost you. Where'd you go?
Just shows up a pause on my side.
There you are. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see here. I've got. There it is. So let me do this real quick. I'm still setting this up as we go along to make sure it's.
Close your mouth. You may get out of here, guys. Go. 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 Love you.
Hold on here. Let me brighten you up. Ah, there you go. See, I can do this on my side too. All right. Boom. There we go. All right. Billy, you're the third person to be on here on camera with me. And we got good, halfway decent numbers tonight. We're looking at about 120 people so far. People are still adding. I'm staring over here. I know that you're seeing me over here, so don't worry about that. In fact, my picture's up here where you can see me. Hold on one second here. I don't think I can get rid of that. Let's see here. Nope, I can't pitch that off. All right, not a big deal. So you're not going to see me. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
I'm just an illusion. So here's what I want to find out. You are in Houston. How long have you had? What are you calling it now? Is it Veterans Veterans Manufacturing, Veterans MFG? What are you going by on that?
It's Veterans Manufacturing, but our legal name is Veterans MFG.
Veterans MFG. Hold on, let me turn this up just a little bit.
And if you want to find us anywhere, just look for VETS MFG. So it's vetsmfg.com, Vets MFG on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the social media, YouTube especially.
Okay. I want to make sure that everybody is hearing you. Wait 1 second. Say something. Okay. Trying to figure out where you're coming out of. I think you're coming out of my TV.
Okay. Test. Veterans Manufacturing, Katy, Texas.
Keep talking. Say something else.
We make ultralight body armor down here.
Oh yeah, there you are. Yeah, for some reason it's coming out of the TV. So I think people can still hear. Can everybody hear him? Let me know if you can hear him or if you can't. Hold on 1 second, Billy. Yeah, hard to hear. Hold on. I've got this whole system kind of rigged where I have to. There you go. Now say something. Can you hear? No, cannot. That didn't work. All right, now, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, how am I coming through?
I guess I don't. For some reason, you're not coming through on this part of the. Anyway, I think they can hear you. Keep talking.
Okay. Well, here I am, Katy, Texas. We're still dry, more or less.
Okay, now we got you. We got you a lot better now. I don't know what happened there. We had to replug that in. Okay, so you're in. How close are you to the flooding?
In feet. Where it's my neighborhood. I mean. We've been flooded in. We just got out today. We were able to walk out. Our house stayed dry. So we're in Cinco Ranch in Katy, Texas. If I lived a quarter mile south of here, I'd be in a shelter today. My house would be destroyed.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
We really dodged a bullet here.
And what about your? So, do you have an actual physical location where you guys go, a storefront?
We do.
And how's it faring?
We were able to take a high water vehicle up there today. We're blessed, man. I don't know what's going on with this company, but things just go right for us. We lost our foosball table in the kitchen, which is a loss. But aside from that, production is slowed down by maybe 5 days. We did not lose $1 in inventory, so we are ready to start shipping again tomorrow. We're going to be back to manufacturing on Monday, but we're shipping tomorrow.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. Now, what about your family and friends? What are some of the good stories you've heard, some of the bad stories you heard? What are the things that you've seen since this has been going on? I mean, I'm tired of getting the reports from, the reporters. I want to hear it from you guys exactly what's happening.
Absolutely. Well, a little bit about me is I've lived through a bunch of things. I'm a 9/11 survivor. Lived through SARS. I was in Beijing at the heart of that. Normally a situation like this, I would be out there helping folks, but I've got a little baby here in the house. So my number one priority is my family.
Right.
We did get out with the boys yesterday and delivered some water, just helping move around cans of water, cases of water, things like that. What is not being played up, and I don't think it could be accurately portrayed, is how the communities have come together. My entire neighborhood has gone.
It's gone.
Message has changed.
Yeah.
the whole neighborhood's come together. The text message chain has been great. People I don't know, my neighbors have come together. We're exchanging water, exchanging supplies. At the end of our block is a Army National Guard now launch point for boats into the really flooded areas. And it's been great. There's been no problems whatsoever, no stress, no strife, no political BS. It's almost been nice to have a change from all of that, to be honest. There's been some politics in town, but I think the real outstanding factor that people aren't talking about is how technology has really stood up through this whole event. We've not really lost power. I've not lost lights. I've not lost cable.
But a lot of people have, or is that not really been a problem all around Houston?
Most people still have lights. Yeah, most people still have cable.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, it's crazy. We really expect it to go dark for a week or two. I'm the kind of person, we can close our doors and be inside here for a month, no problem. It's all finished. But with little kids, I tell you, having the TV, having the news, having video games. My kids are having a great time. They don't know.
Right.
Even if I'm nervous, they're not. I don't show it to them.
I'm trying to put your name up here real quick. Boom, there it goes. Just so people can see it as well.
Sure.
Let me see where I can put this. There you go. Have you heard of any, so Dave Robinson lives in Raynell, West Virginia. He's regular on this show. Also a former Marine, as are you. And the situation that they had there, because it was more, Raynell, West Virginia is a very rural town. And so they had a big problem with people that just couldn't get rescued. And they had quite a few deaths. I may be wrong, but I think it was in the upwards of 14 to 18 people died. I'm not sure exactly how many people died there. Have you seen complications like that where you're at? Because I know the rural areas in Texas and around Houston, I don't think people realize how hard they're probably getting hit right now, because I've heard reports from a former SF guy today when I was hosting the Will Cal Majority on Sirius that in these smaller towns, there's not a lot of resources.
Yeah, we don't. The media, they're trying to do their job, but they're trying to do their job from the George R. Brown Center. Now it seems like one long commercial for Lakewood Church, which finally opened up its doors, or the stories about the big metropolitan,
right?
The stories, they're there. I think the death toll from this it's just gonna build for the next month. We haven't heard anything about a lot of the other neighborhoods in surrounding Houston metro area, and then we can't forget about, Dickinson and all those other towns to our south. They just got smashed, and there hasn't been anybody there. We're still under a commercial air flights are just going up now. So we saw an aircraft yesterday, and it was it was a National Guard flight.
Somebody just asked on Twitter if FEMA is turning people away, or if they're actually, now when I say turning people away, people with boats, people trying to help, or are they actually getting in there?
I think at this point there are probably enough boats here in Houston. Mm-hmm. The storm has moved to Port Arthur, so I think it's a matter of redirecting resources. I know yesterday we had a line of about a mile of pickup trucks and boats, and it was just amazing to see. I haven't seen any federal response on the ground outside of a couple of National Guard types. Here in Katy and in Cinco Ranch, where we're really hit hard, it's local law enforcement primarily, and mostly civilians. A lot of civilians. No feds yet.
Interesting. And what was the feeling of President Trump's response traveling there, his speech that he gave? Because on the news, they're saying, he went too soon. Of course, if he didn't go, they were going to say he didn't go soon enough.
Yeah, of course. No, we down here, we all appreciate it. It's a morale booster. No one expects him to fill sandbags. No one expects him to carry water. Nobody cares what kind of shoes Melania is wearing. I saw that monster from Vogue, that editor from Vogue who called her out on wearing, heels on the plane.
Did you see her? She looked like something out of a, what's the guy? He always does the movies with Johnny Depp where they're like, there's dead people.
Yeah, Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. She looked like something out of a Tim Burton movie. And she has, first of all, who cares? Who gives a crap what this lady thinks? Yeah. But anyway.
No, she was like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. She's, the who stole Vogue. She was horrible. Yeah. And we really appreciate him coming out and coming down here. He had to do it. people are pretty happy with the presentation of the mayor down here.
Are they holding resentment against him that he kind of told people they didn't need to evacuate?
I think what happened is that there was another storm here in Houston a while ago, and more people got killed leaving town than actually through the storm. Houston's growing so quickly, we don't have the roads to handle a regular rush hour. And I think it was probably a better call just to say shelter in place. I'm a bug-in guy, though. I mean, that's my personality.
Yeah.
Unless it's radiological, I'm staying home. I'm guarding my home. I've got food, ammo, everything I need. I think it was smart. It's the body count is low. I hate to use that term, but it is pretty low. He is getting called out a little bit about the curfew. And
about what was it?
Being enforced. That could go one way or the other.
You said the curfew?
Yes.
And it's not being enforced.
Well, it depends how it's being enforced.
Right.
If they made a curfew so that they can do more active policing, shall we say, similar to a Rudy Giuliani style stop and frisk kind of thing,
right.
I'm okay with it. If they're hassling people who are just trying to get, regular groceries and such, then that's an issue. That's a real liberty issue.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on the fence there, but his public face, his spoken voice, it's been pretty good, pretty calming. Chief Acevedo, who is the chief of police down here, has been saying the right things, giving his folks the right support. Overall, I got to say, I'm pretty impressed with how everything's being handled. Of course, nothing's perfect. You got Sheila Jackson Lee running around. Sheila Jackson Lee. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What about the looting? Any major issues with looting or no?
I don't believe so. I think we know the areas where that's going to happen, and that stuff that's going to happen on a Friday night no matter what.
Yeah.
I think Houstonians in general, it's a fairly law-abiding town. We live by sort of that dueling culture out here. I mean, we're armed to the teeth. We take care of each other.
Right.
I don't think it's a real problem. You're not going to see guys rolling through suburban hoods, strong-arming doors more than they would any other day.
Right.
And everybody's on their guard right now. Everybody I know, we're gunned up, we're trained, we're responsible citizens, and we watch each other's backs.
Yeah.
It is, just the culture down here. That's why I live here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, God bless you, brother, and we'll have you back on. And any thing else that's going on there, let me know. I've been talking with Jim DeLong. I know you have. I was thinking maybe within the next week or so after, this is the way rescue efforts typically go. Everybody rushes in because they don't have a good plan to begin with. Everybody rushes in to help, and then people are left. And that's where the morale drops. When people are left, they're living amongst filth in their homes that used to be pretty, and they're hungry or tired just from cleaning. So I was thinking maybe I'll bring the show down there. I'll stay down there for a couple weeks. We'll we'll do the show from down there and talk to people and get their stories. I think it'd be a good thing to do, and I think that's probably what I'm going to work towards.
Sure. We'd love to have you. I know Lee John down at Brazos River Sportsman's Club would love to have you.
Okay.
The guys at Texas Gun Club, they're going to open up next month. They'd love to have you. Everybody come down to our shop. We can do some test shooting.
That's always good.
You haven't shot our gear. You wear our gear and you haven't shot it yet.
Yeah.
So we'll make it happen. I know what you mean though. When that adrenaline rush is gone from the actual event, the real emotional hard times are to come. People are still in shock and they're still pumped.
People are happy to be alive right now. In a month, they're not going to be so happy to be alive. That's just the way this goes. So
the hardest time I remember through 9/11 was that late October, early November, a month after, and the reality sets in.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from New York.
The heck, how'd you end up in Houston? Why does everybody from New York move to Houston? You're like the third person I know from New York that's moved to Houston.
Taxes, firearms, business opportunity, culture.
You guys should stay here and clean this place up.
You know what to tell you, buddy. You moved from the south up there. You're behind enemy lines.
I don't think I'm going to stay in this place too long.
It's tough. Hey, I went to college in Manhattan. I went to Fordham and Lincoln Center. I mean, I am one among my friends. I'm the conservative. I'm that guy, and
You're Captain America. Picture's right up on the wall.
Pretty much. This is not my standard office. This is my voice.
I love it. This is perfect.
Hey, real America, buddy.
That's right. All right, brother. I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad your family and friends are safe, and your business is safe. I mean, I would almost be more torn up if your business has got injured, but now you can continue to make money, which is really the most important thing here, and doing great work. And we're going to continue to pump you up. We need to, dude. We got a whole. We're going to get on this eventually, where we get down there and show your gear and display your gear. So,
do. There are a couple of people I want to put you in touch with down here when you get here. We can talk about that offline. Some media type who you will work very well with.
All right, great.
All right, regional folks. Okay.
All right, brother. God bless you, and thank you for service to this country, and be safe. Stay out of the water.
I can swim.
You got it.
All right, thanks.
Out.
Yep.
All right, let me see how I turn this off. Boom, there you go. You're out of here. All right, so there you go, folks. That was great. And if you don't know about Billy's company, it's you can go to Vets MFG. That's VETSMFG.com, and you can look that up. And they have all kinds of light body armor that's very thin, and you can. It's pretty cool what they have. I'm going to put this up for a second. I know I'm advertising this like crazy, but I want to talk about this for a second. And what I've been leading everybody on with this book for a while. So let's go to the A block. I'm going to zip through these blocks. I'm all over the place. See what happens when you go away for like even a half a week. So as I was saying, I wasn't really planning on doing a show tonight. I needed some time off. I knew this book thing was going to come up. I wasn't sure, and I'm also hosting. I hosted today on the Will Cow Majority. I'm hosting tomorrow Sean Hannity's radio show, and then Will Cow Majority again on Friday. And I didn't know how much time I was going to have, but somehow we got the thing up on Amazon, and as you can see, the book is called Sheep No More. It's like the subtitle says, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. So what this book is all about, and I've been keeping this under wraps until we got it up there for pre-order. The book doesn't actually come out until December 12th, but it's very important that we pump up the pre-sales so we can get this book on the bestseller list, because that propels the book forward. And after I explain to you what this book is all about, you're going to see why it's important that we do as much as possible to get this book out there. So this is the book in a nutshell. When you were a child, you played the what if game. You know, you're walking around and something's making you nervous. Say, well, what if this happens? What am I going to do? Well, when we grow up, people stop doing that, except for a select few group of people. You have your military force protection experts. You have your military attackers. You have your law enforcement, the same thing. You have law enforcement defenders, and then you have law enforcement that hunts criminals. And so throughout my career in the military and law enforcement, I kept seeing and also doing threat assessments all over the country and meeting with these different private and public sectors, such as religious institutions, malls, stadiums and arenas, tall buildings, government buildings, so on and so forth. Met with all these people. We did threat assessments as part of an assault group for the Department of Homeland Security. We would go in and we would say, okay, from an attacker's point of view, these are your critical areas. This is the critical time for those areas when those areas are critical. These are the vulnerabilities that attackers will exploit in order to attack you, utilizing that critical time and that critical area. And these are the avenues of approach that the attacker will come from. Now, that's very common for me to think, but most people just don't think this way. And when we try to explain this to the people that we were doing threat assessments for their companies and so on and so forth, or the government buildings, they didn't get it either. And mainly because there was no regulation, but also because there just has never been any literature for people to have and get their hands on and keep as a referral to how they should be looking at themselves from an attacker's point of view. So that was in 2003, 2004. I knew eventually I would write a book on this. I didn't know where my career was going to lead me at that point. But I started working on this 2 years ago. I got about 16,000 words done. and I wasn't getting any bites. I had several book publishers tell me that it was irrelevant, that they just weren't interested, saying that it was irrelevant. Teaching people how to empower themselves, increase their awareness, and target themselves so they can set up better defenses was irrelevant to these publishers. So fast forward 2 years later, my literary agent shows up and says, I've got you some deals here. So we looked through them, and I got this incredible group at Post Hill Publishing House, and they're amazing people, and they believe in the book. And after they read through it, I got great reviews. I sent it out to several key people that I know that are big readers. They went through it, and in the end, it went from about 16,000 words. I had, because we want to get this out by December. We knew we had, and anybody in the publishing world is going to tell you that this is almost unheard of. I got in touch with Post Hill around the beginning of July, and I had until August 23rd to get the book finished. They pushed that a little bit so that I could add, after the first round of edits, I could add some more stuff in. I've been taking you guys along for this ride, but it went up to, it's over 50,000 words now. It's approaching 55,000 words and about 200 pages. So the other great thing is Sean Hannity did the foreword for the book. It's been endorsed by Marcus Luttrell and a whole host of other people that have just collected their endorsements for the praise page, I guess is what they call it. But what it basically is taking the skill set that we have as attackers and threat assessors and targeting experts and giving those skills, simplifying those skills, so that you can go and build a target package on every sector of your life, on your home, on your the avenue that you take to work, where your kids go to school, where you go for entertainment, where you go for shopping, any place that you could come under the hand of an attacker. I'm going to teach you how to build a target package so that you can say, okay, when I commute to work, this is a critical area. This is a critical time. Maybe when I'm driving at 8 o'clock in the morning, or if you live in New York, they're notorious for putting housing projects, low-income housing projects, right in the middle of all these regular to high-income apartment buildings, and people have to walk through those, and they end up getting mugged. So you look at these and you say, okay, my commute to work, I got to get to the train and take the train to Times Square. So you look and you say, where are my critical areas? Okay, the project that is between you and the subway is a critical area. Now, the critical time for that, maybe not, if you're going to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, most bad guys are asleep at that point. So 6 o'clock in the morning is not a critical time. So it's probably okay for you to walk through there. It's still a critical area. You need to be have your defenses up anyway. But coming home, let's say you work long hours and you're not coming home until 7 o'clock in the evening. In the fall and winter in New York City, it's already dark. That is a critical time for that area, and you need to come up with another way to go around that housing project to get to the place where your home, where your apartment is. Now, how do you get that information? Well, you don't just get it by walking out and looking around. You have to think like an attacker. So this book is going to be controversial. People are going to say that I'm teaching people how to attack. That's not what it is. I'm teaching people how to understand how attackers think, so that you can understand who they are, why they pick certain targets, where they choose to attack, when they choose to attack, and how they carry it out. So I'm literally giving you insight into how they think so that you can use the tools that they use to plan. They have to get your information in order to attack you. You already have the information, so I'm now giving you the steps that they take to plan an attack against you. How they collect the information that you have, I'm going to let you know how they do that. How they chart that information, I'm going to let you know how to do that. That way you can do it yourself. You can chart your own information. You can break your life up into sectors. You can look for your critical areas, critical times, vulnerabilities, and attackers' avenues of approach, and come up with your own predictions of who, why, where, when, and how you could become a victim. Then what do? You just avoid those areas. Or if you have to go through them, now you understand where the attack may come from and what type it may be, so you are ready to face that. Now, one of the examples I give in the book, and I'm not going to go through the whole book, but one of the examples I give is about the Ariana Grande concert. I feel the same way about the Boston bombing. I feel the same way about any of these events that happen or attacks that happen in and around a special event. They're almost always avoidable because there's certain types of critical areas that will develop when people are leaving a stadium and arena or a tall building from work. And if you can identify where these places are, how they pop up, you can then avoid those things. You can avoid those times. You can say to your kids if they go to a concert, leave 10 minutes early, or stay in there and just don't leave for 10 to 20 minutes after everybody else has left, and go out a different door than you see the majority of people going. But if you don't know where those things are, if you can't think like an attacker, if you're not good at pinpointing where that is because you have never thought about what killing is all about and what an attack actually is, well, this book is going to show you. It's got stories in there. It's got case studies. But more than anything, it has guidance to empower you so that you, as the book says, will no longer be a sheep. You will now be I'm not going to say you're going to be a warrior, but you're going to be a sheepdog. You're going to be a protector of the sheep, a protector of your life. You're going to be a person that actively goes out and identifies where you may be a target, and you're going to deal with that by either avoiding it or setting up some type of mitigating circumstances so that you can circumvent that. And then if you're caught in an attack, let's say you have to go there. Well, I didn't forget about you. There's several chapters talking about how, if you need to run, how you run. If you need to hide, I don't call it hiding because I don't think you should ever particularly stay in one place if you don't have to. In the military, we call it escape and evade. So you're either escaping or you're evading or you're fighting. And so that's what we talk about a lot in the book. And then, again, I leave you with certain case studies there to help you wrap it up and see exactly how you should put these things together and work in your life. So even if you have a Glock 23, if you don't know the avenues of approach that a bad guy will have, if you're clueless as to critical areas and critical times and your vulnerabilities, they may come up and snatch that Glock 23 right away from you and kill you with it, which happens. Because if you don't understand where an attacker is coming from and who may attack you, having a weapon that you've never used before in a scary situation, and you don't train regularly like you do in the military and law enforcement to utilize that weapon, to draw it in a scary situation, the chances are that weapon is not going to be employed immediately in an effective manner. But if you do understand where these attacks may come from and you go through this in your head, your mind will actually think faster than you're able to actually employ your weapon. And that's exactly what this book is all about. So, if you are a parent, you need this book. If you have kids, they need this book. Listen, I wouldn't give it to young kids, but you can read this and then help explain this stuff to them. You have a daughter in college, she needs this book. Son in college, he needs this book. If you're a preacher, you and everybody in your church needs this book. If you own a business, you need this book. If you're a mayor, if you're a chief of police, if you're a cop and you've gotten complacent, you need this book. It'll put you back on track with how to think through your daily life in an effective manner. I would even go so far to say that after you read this book, and if you live in an area where natural disasters may occur, you will have the ability to look at this because your awareness will change, and you'll have the ability to better plan on how to act not react. You have to, when you have a plan, you're more prone to action than you are just reaction. So that's what it's about. I've been hinting about it for a long time. I think that all of you will love this book. It's the first time I've ever written something this long, and what's in it, the substance that is in it, it means a lot to me. I think it's very important for this country, and it's going to be very important that we get as many pre-sales. I'm talking thousands. We need 10,000 or more pre-sales before December 12th when these books ship. That's 12/12. When the books ship, we need thousands of people. So here's what I want the Constitution Quick Reaction Force to do. I want you all to start taking, I've got some pictures on Twitter and on Facebook that have this and have the Amazon link where you can order it. It's $15.99. We didn't do a hardcover. We did a soft cover because I wanted to make it affordable for people. I'm not in this for an ego, so I'm not wanting necessarily a hardcover. It'd be kind of cool to have one hardcover book, but we'll get that some other day. This is important for you to have it and for you to carry it with you and for you to be able to reference it again and again to help you not be so comfortable in your daily life. Not be paranoid, but not be so comfortable. So I'm going to put these, you'll see online, I'll be retweeting this and putting it back up on Facebook. If you have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever other things you may have, start copying this, putting it out there, and pushing people to pre-order this book. I am going to push this until people are tired of hearing it because we have to do this so that we can get these books sold and get on these bestseller lists, and that will magnify it. And I'm telling you, folks, the GoFundMe page, all the things that we've done to this point that you all have assisted in, it's kind of led to this. It's allowed me the time to travel, to meet you all, to develop these relationships. And when I got the opportunity to write this book, I was able to focus on that, write it, and get it out there. That money, when it comes in, it won't come in until next year, is going to be a force multiplier for this show. So that's our mission. Let's get this freaking book sold. I want 10,000 copies. And listen, I'm not coming down on everybody. I don't want you to think I'm coming down on you. I put out last week that I wanted everybody on the Friends of Jonathan T. Gilliam page, there's like 3,000 people, to pay $50 to the GoFundMe page. I know a lot's gone on this week. There's people that have nothing anymore that are in Texas, and I would say by far they need the money more than I do immediately. But I don't want everybody to give up on this. The $50 donation, the reason I chose that is because it's not too much, not $100, and it's not $10, which doesn't really add up. $50 for everybody to get together and donate to the GoFundMe page is enough to where we can make, if 3,000 people donated $50, we'd have $100,000. I mean, I want people to realize over $100,000. We'd have $150,000, and that would allow me to, like in this trip that I'm wanting to take down to Texas, to not only get it going, but actually take people with me. So you see, we're all in this together. We're building a community. Even though it's online, we're building a community. You all have entrusted me to bring you the truth. You've entrusted me with your donations. Now I'm entrusting you all to be the force multiplier to sell this book, just like I'm counting on you all to help fund the GoFundMe page. If you have to pick one or the other, pick one or the other. The book's $15.99. I'm asking for the $50 donation to the GoFundMe page. Overall, even if you don't, the fact that you're going out there and pushing this book out and getting the word out and getting people to come to this show, ultimately, this is what is going to grow this to a scale that other people just don't have. They don't have the substance. Other shows online like this now, they don't have the substance that we have. On TV, I predicted this. Who did Fox just hire? Tomi Lahren. Tomi Lahren, been fired from 2 different news stations, only worked at 2 news stations, been fired at both, and obviously is not a true conservative. She is pro-abortion, and and from what I can understand, backstage with all people she works with, not a very nice person. But she's young and flashy, and Fox News hired her. And that's perfect because she's going to go right along with the rest of the young, flashy, no substance, no experience people that they have on Fox News and then CNN and MSNBC, clueless. We're growing this, folks. This is where the truth is. As you can see now, it's taken me a while to do this, but now we got people that are on the scene, civilians, or in the case of Gibbons there just called in, veterans that are on the scene where things are happening, and this is going to be something that that progresses as well. So that's it. The other things I wanted to talk about real quick, and I do feel like it's important to bring this up. The federal judge, I think that's enough of this. I'm getting sick of that myself. The federal judge in Texas blocked today. I thought it's already happened, but I guess it didn't. I don't know if it's he or she. They blocked the sanctuary city law that Texas was trying to put into place, and I'm shocked by this. I'm absolutely shocked by this because there was nothing in there that was nasty to people. There was nothing that was prejudiced to people. It was simply making sure that when there are illegals in these sanctuary cities, they are very nefarious in the way that these mayors, the way that they're doing things, these city officials. So now you got federal judges coming in and blocking when a state is trying to make sure that people abide by the law and notify law enforcement when somebody gets or immigration or federal immigration people when somebody illegal has been arrested. But these cities, sanctuary cities, they don't do that. And so now you can see Texas, which has all these strong people in it, is being subverted by these communistic, socialist, globalist-minded people. Everybody's focused on Berkeley. It's in Texas. Everybody's focused on Houston and the floods. Meanwhile, these judges are out there doing this stuff, and they're also trying to revamp the voting areas so that they can get more minority votes spread out all over Texas. And the only reason that the Democratic Party wants that is so that they can get elected. They don't care about minorities. The whole Saul Alinsky community organizer crap is just that. It's crap. It's just a way to further a communist ideology, which we're going to talk about this at great lengths tomorrow on the Sean Hannity radio show. So that's about it. Anybody else got anything for me? Let me look at what you guys are saying here, and then I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go eat. And again, it was a bit of a shorter show tonight, but I wasn't, and I started a little late, so I was trying to get that hooked up with Billy before we started so you guys could get a little information from him. But Twitter, I'm telling you, people say the craziest things on Twitter. All right, anybody else got anything? I love you. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the Truth Zone. I do have a P.O. box. And here's what I'm going to do with the books that people want to have signed. Get a book, and then I'm going to figure out a way so we can do this the easiest way possible. I'm either going to go on a tour around where people can come and meet, and I'll sign those, or we'll fix it up with the P.O. box somehow where we can get them signed and shipped back out to you. I got to figure out the best way and the easiest way to do that. I learned my lesson early on this show when I had these coins, and I want to send these out to people. People want a coin. You can still write me if you donated, and I've got the envelopes and everything to send this stuff out. I just got lost in that because it was right around the time when I hosted one of these shows, and I get like 1,000 emails, so it gets lost in there. Make sure you tune in to the Sean Hannity radio show tomorrow. It's 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's not just on Sirius XM Patriot Channel 125, but it's also simulcast all around across the country. Find out in your local location where that's going to be, and if you want to call in, if you can get through, I'd love to hear from you. But I think that's it. I'll also be on Andrew Wilkow's show on Friday, and that's from 12 to 3. Let's go to the Truth Zone. swear it seems like it's been like a month since I was on this show. So here's the thing I want to leave you with today. After talking today on the Andrew Wilkow show about, we talked about communism, which I'm going to talk tomorrow. I talk about all the time here. Don't you remember, folks, like 2 years ago when I started this show, how I was talking about communism and the Red-Green Alliance? It's not just Islam, it's communism. Well, guess what? Mainstream media is starting to talk about that now. Some of these politicians, I think, Dianne Feinstein in California is actually starting to get a little nervous because of what's going on. She actually surprised me today, and she's condemning Antifa. Well, I'd like to see them go further than condemn Antifa. I'd like to see them go to the point where they are considering them a terrorist group. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. Same thing with the white supremacists. And any other group that goes beyond speech and goes into the realm of action, where they take their hate speech and they go into action, when they actually are trying to subvert the country, not just talking about it, when they are actually going out and trying to separate people, not just talking about it. I think there's a point now we've gotten to where we have tested our free speech, and that's great. This free speech, the First Amendment, was set up so that we could stand against a tyrannical government, but it was not made to protect nefarious actions by people who want to subvert and overthrow our Constitution. That's not what the First Amendment was about. The only other question that I have is, what point do the American citizenry stand up and say no more? Just like that lady that stood up against the CNN crew today or yesterday, and she was furious. Her kids were there freezing, and the lady's sticking a microphone in her face like they do at CNN, and she just flipped out on the lady. One person can change the world. One person will not win a war, but one person can change the world if you stand up and say, I am not going to stand for this anymore. But here's the real way one person can change the world. If you stand up and you start confronting people and saying, are you with me? This is what's going on. This is the truth. If you don't have the truth, you can't do that. We're providing it for you. Once you get it, it's your job to stand together, to stand up together. If one person stands up, a lot of people will listen. Many people will laugh. But when you stand together in numbers, there is strength in numbers. And you, as part of the we, can change the world. So that's what we need to get refocused on, folks. I'm doing my part every night coming here. You're doing your part. You're funding this show. You're listening. You're having the dialogue. You're getting yourself educated as to the reality of what's going on. I haven't been wrong yet. I have not been wrong yet in the predictions I've had about communism and Black Lives Matter and all these hate groups. I have not been wrong about politicians and the nefarious behaviors. I have not been wrong. Why? Because I don't talk about things that I don't know. And if I don't know it, I go find the people that do. And then when my analysis comes out, it's correct. And I advise you to do the same thing. I'm going to have a show tomorrow night. I'm off Friday to finish out my vacation. I may be back Monday. I've been hosting regularly on Newsmax every Monday. But folks, get out there. Pump this book up. Let's get the pre-sales in the thousands. If you haven't donated to the GoFundMe page, do it. Let's stand together. Let's make this happen, folks. It's one team, one fight. I'm Jonathan Gillum. Rico's asleep, and the truth has arrived. Sheep no more.